Okay, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers MP-21 Bumble, aka Masterpiece Bumblebee. In my last review, I mentioned how I have a bunch of different Bumblebees, so I figured I'd take a look at a few of the older ones. And this is a Masterpiece Bumblebee, the first one. We've had two Masterpiece Bumblebees. I don't have the second Masterpiece. I don't think it looks particularly good. And truthfully, I'm not even totally sure that this is actually a Masterpiece Bumblebee. I can't really find any like specific differences, but a while ago I got it on eBay and for a kind of suspiciously low price. So it's possible it's a knockoff, but I can't really tell. I mean, it's got actual Autobot symbols on it. The box says, Takara Tomy and stuff like that. So maybe I just lucked out. I don't know. But either way, it's good enough for me. But yeah, here he is in his bug mode, and it's pretty good for the most part. I will say my one issue with this mode is that the roof piece doesn't always want to sit totally flush, so it sits up just a little bit, which kind of creates this ugly black line here. And then he has some sort of like unsightly panel lines, like he's got a little square here for a gimmick where his Autobot symbol flips out on the chest in robot mode, so that to be more accurate to the car mode, he doesn't have an Autobot logo there, but to be more accurate to the robot mode, he does. So, I don't know. I'd probably have just preferred there being an Autobot symbol there rather than having this rectangle chilling on top. But otherwise, I think it's a pretty good looking car mode. It rolls okay. And, being a masterpiece, this figure comes with a number of accessories. First and foremost, he comes with Spike in an exosuit here, which is not great, but it's okay. It has some trouble staying together, which again, maybe because it's a knockoff, I don't know. But the arm pieces here, for transformation, these little side skirts are supposed to like compress up a little bit more, and they just don't have the clearance to do that. So then the arms are supposed to tab into these tabs here, and A, those tabs are just too small, and B, these side skirts just keep it from going flush. So the actual like arms of the exosuit for this mode just kind of like loosely chill out here, which if you can get it sitting looks okay, but it definitely is not very stable there, unfortunately. He also comes with a little pistol here, which looks pretty nice, done with the painted in metallic blue there. He comes with a couple extra faces. The one I have on him right now is like a smirking face, and he also comes with a like just more neutral face, and then also one that looks more like his G1 toy. And then he comes with this little cap here that you can put in place of the license plate. I don't know if I can actually get that out, but basically you had a choice of whether to put the license plate there or put the spare tire, and I chose the license plate because I like that look better. But basically how this would end up in robot mode would give him that circle on his back that he typically has in robot mode, and in the G1 toy he's got like that rectangle back there, which I guess kind of fills the same niche as that, I guess. I don't know. He also comes with two little windshields that you have to plug in yourself. And the reason that they did that is because if you actually look at a real Volkswagen, from this era, it actually only had the one on the driver's side. So you can keep it the most accurate to the car by just plugging one of them in there, or more accurate to the cartoon by putting both of them. I prefer the look for both of them, but I think it's cool that they gave that option. But yeah, I guess we'll just get on to comparisons here. We'll pull the accessories out to the side. In this mode, here he is for a standard one. Here he is with Kingdom Sideswipe. So you can see that's not a terrible scale. I think the bug looks maybe a little bit too big in compared to into the car there, but and for another one like that, here he is with Earthrise Optimus Prime, and here he is with it's like a downscaled knockoff of MP10, because I don't have the actual MP10, so you can see what he looks like with them. Again, I think way too big to go with either of those, but that's what he looks like with a couple different Optimus Primes. And then for a few more Bumblebees, here he is with Classics Bumblebee, who we just took a look at not too long ago. Here he is with the Netflix Bumblebee, and here he is with the keychain version of G1 Bumblebee, just so you can see what he looks like with a few other Bumblebees there. And I think the real interesting comparison is between these two, because because they, this figure is really kind of a downscaled version of him. I mean, it doesn't do everything exactly the same. Like, it definitely switches a lot up in terms of the transformation, but there's also a number of design cues that are clearly a holdover from this figure. I think this one does it better, but it's kind of interesting to see them side by side, because this figure really is pretty heavily based on this one. But yeah, that's what they look like together. In terms of transformation, I guess let's just real quick and easy start off by getting Spike out of the way. You want to take the arms here and kind of fold them out to the side, and then take this chest plate, flip it up like that, and then bring the arms in like that, then bring them down, flip them over at this joint right here, and then flip this little wheel into the body there. And then just do that on both sides. Then for the legs here, you want to, well, that'll fall off, so just let it. Unpeg them and then kind of extend them out at the knee here. It's kind of on a double hinge. Then take the feet and fold them up a little bit past where you want them for now. So you can take these wheels here and you want to rotate them around and then flip part of the wheel inside like this on a double hinge. And then you can bring the feet up to kind of like sit around it. Which is kind of a neat little idea there. And then if it hasn't already, take this off so that you can take his head here and flip it up. It's just on a little hinge, and then you can put this back on, which honestly just does not stay on for the most part. Like, you can get it to stay on, but it's kind of on a hair trigger. But yeah, there we have Spike in his exosuit in his little, I guess not really robot, but exosuit mode. But we'll put him off to the side for now and take a look at Bumblebee. So first thing you want to do is split the front here. It'll kind of like come out of the side like that. And then each of the legs are on kind of a double hinge here at the knee. So you just want to bring them up like that and click them into place. And then you want to take this panel, flip it in like this, and it'll actually sit so it's going to go into this cavity right here, so that when you bring this section up, it kind of like compresses into the body, which is a pretty neat little mechanism there for having to have it like kind of angle into the body like that by itself. And then you want to take the wheels, just fold them onto the bottom of the feet here, and then take this whole bit and just rotate it down like this, and then take these panels and kind of wrap them around the foot. Again, kind of similar to Netflix Bumblebee, but not exactly the same, just kind of, a lot of the parts end up in the same relative place. Then we can take this little square right here, and it has this little Autobot symbol that you can flip around. Then you just want to loosen up the back bumper here from these sections and bring these out to the side, just like that. Then you want to take these little bits with the tail lights on them and just double hinge them up onto this section right there. Then you can separate what will be the arm from this side panel here, and then bring this down and it'll sit on the side of the body. Then we can rotate around the arm and flip out the hand, and just do that on both sides here. Then you want to take this whole back panel and separate it like this, and then you kind of want to, it's on this weird little armature, and you kind of want to maneuver it so you can rotate it around like that, and then take the back bumper and flip it in like this, and then bring the whole section down. Again, it's on a few different hinges here. You want to make sure the head comes down to sit, flush on the body, and then this whole bit just kind of sits as a backpack there. And there you have Masterpiece Bumblebee in his robot mode. And yeah, he looks good for the most part. I will say the one thing, well, there's a couple things I don't really like about him. One, he's really orange. I think, we've had that problem with him, but he's even slightly more orange than him. It's not really showing up on camera, but he is a deeper orange than this guy is, which is, not great. I'd like him to be yellow, but I don't know. This is like the one thing that I've looked at images online, and I think maybe this is a knockoff and he's just slightly more orange than the actual one, but the actual one looks kind of orangey too, so it's kind of hard to tell. I also am not generally a huge fan of his head sculpt. I think that the details look a little bit soft, especially on the face. It's okay, it's just not, I don't know, it's not like the same kind of details he's got on his forearm here, where it's a lot of kind of nice paneling and stuff like that. It's just kind of a soft, detailed head, which I'm not crazy about. Also, he does do a bit of cheating in that you know, obviously, because the G1 Bumblebee toy was this kind of like smushed down Beetle, he was able to have like the entire, you know, roof section with the back windshield and the front windshield on his chest. Whereas in the cartoon, obviously, you know, he becomes a longer, well, I guess in the cartoon, he's also kind of a, you know, a squished down little car. But when they make new toys of the cartoon design, they tend to make him like a properly proportioned Beetle, which obviously does not work for giving him all of the windows on his chest because it would be super long. So it's kind of a clever solution. Basically what they did is they just hide the fake back windshield in here, like inside of the car, which is a little bit of cheating, which I'm not crazy about, but I understand why they did it, because it's not like it's actually possible to get this windshield on there, because it would have to like change shape and not really. So I don't know. Generally, I prefer him just not having the window up there if they can't get it there. But you know, it was the solution that they went with, and I understand why they went with it. In terms of articulation, his head is it's on a swivel here and a separate hinge, so he doesn't get like any ball joint tilt or anything like that. He can just swivel and then look up and down. The shoulders for a transformation joint, they can kind of use. Oh, maybe they can't actually. Yeah, because I guess they're kind of locked into this. Never mind. But he's got ball joints at the shoulders, and then he's got a bicep swivel, hinge at the elbow that goes a little bit over 90. The wrists can only kind of bend in. He's got a waist swivel. Hips can go forward and back and out to the side. He's got a thigh swivel. It's got a little over 90 degrees of bend at the knee. And then for the feet, they can tilt forward and back just slightly and then tilt out to the side as well. So, you know, pretty decent articulation, nothing like too groundbreaking, but definitely passable there. And then for articulation for Spike here, or Daniel, I guess if you want him to be, the head obviously just tilts up and down. It can't rotate or anything, but you have to take off the dome to access that. For the shoulders here, they do have this joint, which unfortunately doesn't really lock in, but you can kind of use that as like a forward-facing butterfly joint, but it does kind of disjoint it from the arm here. He can tilt his arms up and down like that, and he's got a ball joint at the elbow, which can't really unbend past 90 degrees, but it can kind of wiggle around in there and acts as a bicep swivel. Nothing at the waist. Hips are on ball joints. They can go forward only about that far, back only about that far, and out to the side about that far. He's got these little hip skirts that you move out of the way. The knees don't really work. They go from there to there, and that's it. You can tilt his feet forward, but they don't have tilt or anything to the side. And yeah, that's about it. He's not great. I mean, you can move his arms around, and that's about it. You're not really getting any super dynamic poses out of Exosuit Spike here, but you know, he comes with a figure, so. And then in terms of his other accessories, we've got his little face plates here, and then where do they all go? Here we go. We've got his gun and his little cap here. Again, if you use the spare tire, basically you'd just be, let's see if I can get this off actually. Yeah, there we go. If I push it from the back, you get the little license plate off, and then you can basically attach this to the back so that he has, you know, kind of that similar detailing with the circle on his back that he had in the cartoon. I'm not crazy about that, but it's neat that they included that as an option. But I generally prefer oh gosh, this went in one way or the other, huh? Probably the other way, but I prefer the license plate there. His gun, it is, I think, technically like a 5mm like width peg here, but it's a square tab, not a peg, and he's got a square tab in his hands here, so he holds this just fine, but he can't hold other weapons that have like 5mm ports. But a lot of other figures that hold 5mm weapons can hold this, I'm pretty sure. Let me just, does it plug in on Sideswipe? Well, actually, maybe not. It's a little bit loose, so I don't even know if it is 5mm, but he holds it well, and it looks okay. There's no place for it to store on him, unfortunately. Not in vehicle mode either. You could probably just like cram it into the backpack in some way here, but that doesn't really work, I don't think. And then in terms of his alternate faces, I've only done this once, but you just get a fingernail in here and press that off. I'm not going to put both of them on, but let's take a look at his little show or toy accurate face. I think that looks pretty good. Again, I prefer the show accurate one, but you know, it's got a couple different options there. I prefer the smirking one just because I feel like even with the smirking, it's not even really smirking. It's just neither of them are really like I don't know which one is supposed to be the neutral face. This one just kind of has more of an open mouth. I think that's the best looking face, but either way, no super fantastic options there. But yeah, in terms of a comparison with the figures we looked at him with before, for the standard one, we'll just bring on Kingdom Sideswipe here so you can see how he stacks up. Still pretty short compared to an average size deluxe, whereas Bumblebee should be, kind of smaller. He's pretty similar height to Classics Bumblebee, and I guess we'll bring on Spike here so you can see what he looks like with them as well. For a couple Optimus Primes, here he is with Earthrise and this, knockoff downscaled MP10. It was like KBB or something like that. I don't know. And, he looks okay with both of them. I think maybe a little bit too big in comparison to Earthrise Prime, but, it's kind of, as long as he's a good amount smaller than Prime, I think it generally works. Here he is with, I'm going to bring on this guy just to show him off with Spike, the one that came with Slag there. I guess technically this is Daniel, but whatever. Just so you can see a few different exosuit designs. I don't have the Studio Series one of him, unfortunately. And then here he is with some Bumblebees, just so you can see how he scales with them. Like I said, about the same height as Classics Bumblebee, maybe like a tiny bit shorter, but they're all pretty similar there. And I really want to show him off more specifically with Netflix Bumblebee, just so you can see, they did a lot of stuff the same and a lot of stuff different, like the arms and the side panels, they kind of end up upside down just because this whole piece flips around and turns over, but a lot of it, is it ends up in the same kind of place. And again, with the chest too, basically a lot of it is the same, other than the fact that the instead of doing the cheating, they just decided to have the front windshield be this, this bit of window at the top rather than down here where it would normally be. So they flipped it around like that. But the backpack sits in the same way. The arms are pretty similar. The legs fold up in a pretty similar way. So, kind of a downscaled version of Masterpiece Bumblebee, kind of taking that old design and then improving upon it, at least in my opinion. I like this better. I mean, he doesn't do any parts forming or anything like that, but I prefer parts forming to the cheating. So, I don't know, but they look kind of cool together. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to him. He's an okay figure. At the time, I wanted to get him because I really wanted a Bumblebee that actually turned into a Volkswagen, but just like with him, it bothered me immensely that he's really way more orange than he is yellow. And still, generally, I think I still preferred Classics Bumblebee just because I like the head sculpt a lot better. He has more of the right color. Really, the only thing, he has going over him is that he's actually turns into a bug. And, some of the proportions are a little bit nicer, but he fit in more with my other figures. So, but it was still nice to have him. And then him, I was like, I could do without. He's okay. I had him sitting on my shelf as Daniel for the longest time to go with my movie figures, but I think he's a bit too big. His head is just kind of enormous for, what would have to be the head of someone inside this exosuit for it to scale properly with them. But I don't know. They're a fun pair, all things considered. But, I think that this guy is probably a better Bumblebee overall, at least in my opinion. And, when at the time that he came out, at least cost way less. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to him. I'll be back again next time with another Bumblebee video, and then we'll move on to something else. But for now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And without further ado, here we have Transformers MP-21 Masterpiece Bumble.